Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. It's the Green Bay Packers versus Lions post game by myself for this one. If you want my dad and my uncle in on it, that will be on Monday when we do our NFC North breakdown. We'll get more into the Green Bay Packer and Lions game then too, get their opinions on it. But since it was a late game, I'm by myself. We'll start with the score, right? They won 34-20. One of the best halves I've ever seen the Lions play. In that first half, they were up 27-3 at halftime and kept Green Bay from coming back. They sacked Jordan Love 5 times. Your defensive line did really, really good pressuring the QB, got to him multiple times, and they kept Jordan Love to 246 yards. He only threw one touchdown, 2 interceptions. So your defense did really, really good yesterday. They showed up when they had to. You now lead the division. And they also stopped the rushing game. They only had 27 yards rushing the whole entire game. They brought Aaron Jones back, basically did not use him. He only touched the ball 5 times compared to Aaron Dillon touching the ball 5 times. So they didn't even try running the ball. They really were forcing the pass. And your secondary, even without Kirby Joseph and CJ, did fantastic at keeping them from even progressing. That first drive was really the one that showed you how the game was going to go for Green Bay, right? They got the pick off Goff pretty quick in the game, and then they just shut him down, right? They didn't even let him get into the end zone. They only let up a field goal. And right from there, you knew how the game was going to go. The defense showed up. If anything was going to happen, the defense was going to stop them. And that is basically how the whole game went up until basically halfway through the third quarter when Green Bay started getting some momentum. And then you were end up stopping it in the fourth quarter with an interception, and you're all good. They shouldn't have gotten playoff in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter there, when the time went to zero. That should not have happened, but you got by. This is the stuff that always plagued the Lions, and now you're able to get by it and actually progress. Play Walker, again, hurting his own team against the Lions. He did it last year when he shoved the trainer and got himself that personal foul. This year, a nice penalty on the field goal that ended up becoming a touchdown because he got the penalty. So he hasn't really made the best decisions against the Lions, but it was not his fault that the Packers lost at all. Anyone who thinks it was his fault that the Packers lost is insane because he did really, really good on defense besides that one penalty. I've heard, let's see how many tackles he had here. I believe he had 20 20 total tackles, 10 of them solo. He was the leading tackler on the team. If he wasn't there, they would have lost by even more points. I was looking for you to put up almost 45 at one point when you were up 27 and a half. I was expecting us to be in the 40s in Green Bay, and the fans that showed up there too. It is amazing how well we have traveled. I know last year we were there uh, for that Green Bay game, and they traveled pretty well. It seemed like there were even more people there this time than there was last year. So the Lions are traveling well, and the NFL will like that. That's money, and that is going to have us more on bigger road games because they're going to think our fans are going to travel there, and I'm not going to be surprised if they do. It's going to be a very fun season to watch these road games to see how many Lions fans actually show up. Going to the offensive side, it was an okay day actually for Goff. It wasn't an amazing day. He didn't do all that great. He only threw for 210 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was 19 for 28. The reason that is so low is because we ran the ball yesterday. We did not stop running the ball. We had 211 total rushing yards on the day, and we gave Montgomery, coming right off that injury, 32 touches. He was running the ball the whole day, had 121 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. He did fantastic yesterday for what I saw. I only was catching glimpses as I went because I was at work, so I was kind of watching it at work. But from what I saw, he looked amazing. Raymond had one touch for 40. Uh, Gibbs had 8 for 40, and Goff ran for 10 off of 2. And one thing I will say, Goff needs to slide. That one rush he was trying to get in the end zone, I was really worried he would end up getting hurt on that. Luckily, he did it. But our rushing attack showed up. It's a weird thing to say when over the years we've never really had a rushing attack that really dynamic when we have Reggie Bush and Best and all that stuff, all those running backs. We've never really had the ability to rush like we did yesterday with Montgomery really having the bulk of the load. You rush more than you pass by a good amount. Um, 41 43 total rushing attempts compared to 28 passing attempts, and that really showed you what you were trying to do this game, and you were just running it down their throat the whole entire game. When it comes to receivers, your best receiver out there was Josh Reynolds. He had 3 for 69 yards. St. Brown had 5 for 56. Laporta, again, he is setting records. He's at the top of the tight ends in their rookie years in history with the amount of receptions he's had and yards. So he is going to be a really, really good weapon for this offense as the year goes on. He is going to end up being probably one of those top tight ends if he can continue playing the way he's playing. On top of the fact that he can block, that was one thing you were missing with Hockenson. Yes, he was a very good receiver, but he wasn't as good at blocking. Laporta here, he is able to block. He's able to catch, right? It is going to be a very fun year having him on the line with the other offensive linemen and with the receivers being able to do everything that we need him to do. Montgomery had 2 receptions for 20 yards. Gibbs had 4 for 11. And then Marvin Jones had 0. Well, he did have 1 target yesterday, and then Raymond had -2 yards for the one play that they tried to do behind the line. But it was a good game. Going back onto the defensive sides, we did have again 5 sacks. Hutchinson had 1.5. Harris had half. McNeil had 1. Kaminsky had 1. And that's all I see here. And that was really good on the defensive line. They did fantastic this whole entire game. They held their own. They made sure there was pressure most of the game. They again 5 sacks. You got to the quarterback again for that. For us saying there was no pass rush at the beginning of the year, you had 1 sack for the first 2 games. Now you've had 12 through the last 2 games. 13 total sacks on the year. It took you 2 games to get that defensive line going. A couple of injuries to figure out maybe who should have been on the lines. I think Bugs has really helped with that. And now we are seeing what we're going to get as we head to back home to face Carolina. It's not going to look good for Carolina when we go into that game. We should be crushing Carolina 0-3 currently, and then we'll see what happens this weekend if they can get a win or not. Depending on what you're hoping, you might want to hope they win so the Vikings are 0-4 and staying at the bottom of the division, along with the Bears losing this week to Denver in hilarious fashion and also being 0-4. But we'll see what happens. But overall, a great game. One of the best games I've seen, again, in that first half. That second half was okay, leading to a great game overall. And it is going to be a fun season if they can continue to play like this. And I cannot wait for next Sunday, or even really the next big game, which is Baltimore, when you're going to get J-Mo back, and it is going to be entertaining as hell. With that being said, though, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and until next time, I hope to see everybody soon.